Good morning. Good morning. It is Sunday, August 19th, and it's a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day. I have my little cup of morning here, and I'm here in Arizona, and it's beautiful, and it's warm, and it's so early in the morning to be so warm. But that's okay. Getting to know how my brothers and sisters live in this hot country. Uh, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. When we are in a different environment, we get to understand and feel how why other people make their decisions. Geography is your destiny. Somebody told me that once, and I thought, wow, there's so much truth to that. Where you are really makes a difference in what goes on in your life. Isn't it true? Okay, well, stretch, breathe. It's Sunday. It's a new week. Or for some, the end of a week. It just depends on your view. Take a breath. Get your cup. Let's have a discussion this morning. And let's see what wisdom would have to tell us today. I'm going to try to speak a little bit louder. Yesterday I didn't. The last 2 days my volume has been quite low. I think probably because I'm conscious that I'm in somebody else's territory and I'm trying to keep it low, especially in the morning. But therefore it made it quite soft. So I'll try to be in a little bit louder voice today. I'm going to be using Wisdom of Avalon by Colette Baron Reed. I think they're really beautiful cards, wonderful cards for a Sunday morning. I just felt them today. And I love the card I pulled because it is such a great, growing up I was very active in a religious institution. And that was what Sunday was about. It was about going to church and learning, and it was an all-day thing. And I loved it because that was my life. That's who I was. That was my roots, my connection. And I always loved connecting with spirit. No matter which stage of life I'm in, I love connecting with the divine, with God, my maker, spirit. We all have a different belief system, and that's okay. It very much depends on the spiritual boot camp in which you were dropped in by the stork, and the conditioning begins. And then as we grow, we have opportunities to make choices and do something different, have different experiences. And so here I am today, still loving spirit, loving the divine, loving God, just outside of the walls, I would say. So the beautiful wisdom I plugged into today is such a Sunday card. In my estimation, it's an everyday card, but it's a card that I would learn about really in a big kind of a way on Sunday, and that is forgiveness. Forgiveness is such a huge word. What does that mean? To forgive. I kind of like to break the words down. Forgiving is not, it's something that you have to do. We've all been offended. We've all been put upon by someone else. We've all had our boundary crossed. Every one of us. And what is left is up to us, is up to you. When you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that what they've done to hurt you is okay, but you release and open the pathway from your heart to your maker, to God, forgiving more love to you, bringing more peace to you, bringing a healing to you so that you can carry on, so that you can carry on with your divine path. Because somebody always throws a rock in your pond. That is what life is about. Rains on your parade, whatever you want to call it. Ruins your plan. You know, we all have a plan, we all have an idea. And then somebody comes along, rains on our parade. And it can be in a big way. I'm not trying to be light with crossing over some of the that are put upon different people and the things that happen. However, this I do believe is that nothing is too big for God to heal. Nothing is too big for a healing to happen on our heart. The divine can heal you. And forgiveness is the word that we've chosen. We all have a different way of looking at forgiveness. But basically, what that means is to let go of something. Let go of the judgment that we create about someone who has done something to us. Let me read what the card has to say about forgiveness today. Drawing this marker says that you must now search your heart for any unresolved resentment. Notice this is searching you. It's talking about you. Is there any unresolved resentment, anger, or disagreement between you and another's behavior? You know, for many of us, that can be just immediate. And sometimes we can have a whole list. Sometimes it might not be much. If you are still hurt or angry about another's behavior, or if there are circumstances in your life that you resent, this is a time when it's critical, notice critical, to release the negative anger energy surrounding those situations. Critical. You know, there's a few times when words really mean something big in our life. And I grew up with learning that the word critical, it can mean many things. But to me, my first thought is the CCU, the critical care unit in the hospital. That is like they're on watch on 24 hours. What happens to them in the next little bit is a matter of life or death. That's called critical care. Well, critical care may be the state that we're in spiritually. It is critical for you to release these negative energies surrounding those situations. Imagine energy balls in you that are toxic, that are created around an event, someone hurt you, unresolved, energy ball inside. Literally, you're septic. You're like this appendix that's going to burst. You're like the gallbladder that exploded. You're like the heart that is going to break, the heart attack. Critical care is needed here. Resisting this will only impede your growth and draw more unwanted experiences to you. Yeah, if you don't take care of the business takes care of you. We die spiritually. Sometimes it can be so big that it affects us physically. We get sick, and also it stops our life. We stop living. We take away our freedom, and we are the one that does that. Yes, someone else maybe committed an act towards us, did something that created bitterness in us, but we are the one that gets to watch the green, red, yellow light in front of us that says, go, stop, slow down. Are you going to go? Are you going to move forward? Or are you just going to sit at the stoplight the rest of your life? Resentment and anger are emotions that actually bind you and hook you to the events that cause your suffering. Why would we want to be hooked or chained to an event? Can you imagine, like a ball and chain, dragging that event around? But that's what we do when we don't release it. This keeps you suffering and alive. This keeps the situation alive and the suffering going on inside. Nothing good comes from hate, anger, or resentment. Peace can only come through forgiveness. Let me say that one more time. Peace can only come through forgiveness. When you release all that binds you to negativity, that's when you will find peace. Perhaps you need to forgive yourself for placing unrealistic expectations on your situation, resulting in self-sabotaging perception, tainted by perfectionism. Wow, that's big. That's big in the community that I was raised in. Being taught to be perfect, being taught that that's the goal. Well, that's a lovely goal. It is great to have a picture to work for, a hero to work towards, to admire. Perfection in a human body eventually will eat you up. We can grow towards that, and we can be like that rock in the tumbler. We can become more and more shiny. However, in this life, we will not be able to become perfect. We might be very godlike or very divine in our actions, but we will not become perfect. But it's okay to work that way, towards that. But what we're talking about here is that it rules us and we hold ourselves hostage. Then anytime we do anything that doesn't fit within the parameters of that ideal, then we beat up on ourselves. We put ourselves back in the cage of imprisonment, self-imprisonment, self-sabotaging perception. This stops our progress. This keeps us revving our engine at the stoplight all day long. Look at that visual. It seems so, when you can actually visualize something in a different way, it makes us really see maybe the truth of the situation. So truly, imagine yourself 3 lanes, stoplights, red, green, yellow. Green means go, yellow slow down, red stop. There you are, middle lane. Light is red, everybody's stopped. You have someone on the left, you have someone on the right, and you are right there in the middle. And the light changes. And you don't. You sit there and sit there and sit there. The person on the right goes, the person on the left goes, the person behind you is getting really ticked, maybe honking their horn, maybe other things, eventually revving their engine and going around you, which creates aggression. And you are sitting there wondering why everybody is moving forward. Now, do that for an hour. Do that for 2. Stop traffic, see what happens. This is really, can you imagine sitting at a stoplight all day long while everybody else on that main road keeps going? Who chose? Imagine this as your life. That is what happens when we harbor something, when we choose to not forgive something. Forgiveness is the key to peace, and it starts with you. This marker requires you to practice forgiveness so that you can be an active part of spreading peace and beauty throughout the troubled world. and mostly in your world. We very seldom get to go on, well, some people do, some people travel a lot, but in my life, traveling was not something that happened very often. I'm taking the opportunity to do it more now. But we pretty much live in our little neighborhood, in our little house, in our little whatever property we live within. How are you moving forward in that area? Are you influencing for goodness the people in your little box of space? So important to forgive, to release those angry feelings, those whatever binds you up. Turn them over to the divine. They can handle it. Then you don't have to. Choose to be free. That doesn't mean you have to forget. And that doesn't mean that it can't put you on a path to create change. Or how are you going to use that event in your life to make or create a different way? Maybe you can become an advocate for the opposite behavior. Maybe you can shed some light on situations that people need to understand or see the truth of. But do it with love, do it with peace, and move forward so that you can be on your path of joy and peace in this life. I think that's a really great message today. What is it that you have to let go of so that you can go when the light turns green? Think about that today. I know there's a lot I can let go of, and it's mostly within myself. It's me that I'm holding back, and I would guess that it's you that is holding you back too. Happy Sunday and Cup of Glow.